Quantum mechanics, collapse theories, with its revolutionary implication, has posed innumerable problems to philosophers of science. Halal HaWah. It's a problem for science. These are innumerable problems. We're about to talk about the measurement problem. In quantum mechanics, the measuring problem is the problem of how or whether wave function collapse occurs. If it occurs, whether it occurs at all they know is that when they're not watching, it's happening. It's all happening in quantum. The whole wave is being formed. When it's not being measured, it's innumerable possibilities. Another reason why HaWah probably doesn't want us to, measure ourselves, you know what I'm saying? Count ourselves, you know what I mean? Only in Revelations do you get this 144,000 situation, man. Other than that, we're not even supposed to number ourselves, measure ourselves, because we're the full wave, man. We need to observe the code. We need to observe the commandments to collapse the wave pattern. But now it gives them a measurement problem. The inability to observe such a collapse directly has given rise to different interpretations of quantum mechanics, poses a key set of questions that each interpretation must answer. We too want answers about the wave function. Hey man, we're talking about the quantum, the manipulation of time, the manipulation of the flow of time. Why I said I'm gonna speed these days up, is that what's happening? He says he gonna hasten the days. You feel like it's speeding up? There's a measurement problem. You're talking quantum, we're talking quantum bubbles, so that we can step into the world of marvel with a head on our shoulders, so that we can see clearly. We got eyes to see. You must observe to collapse. You must observe to collapse. No observation, no collapse. This collapse is a good collapse. This is where you say, okay, you want to hit the bullseye, right? You don't want to be shooting and hit anything, right? Just a good way to look at it. You want to collapse the rim of possibility that you hit anything else. You don't want to hit nothing else but the bullseye. You want the kingdom, my noggin. You want success for your whole tribe. You want to narrow out all the distraction and all the hijack so that one, target is being hit perfectly. Your observation leads to a collapse, narrowing down of the possibilities of error or distraction all along the wave pattern. Not that hitting a different place in the wave pattern is an error, but in this case, you want to hit a particular bullseye. Huh? We all are in it together, collective Mashiach. We're working together to break their spell and keep our code. We want to narrow out all their hijack. We want to push it all out, right? We want to build a fence, right? We want to build a wall. And within that wall, you got the flow, you got the code, you're protected. Dracons are popping off. To get there, you had to make certain choices. You had to choose up. You had to observe. You had to make the choice to observe. And by observation, you have collapsed the wave pattern from it hitting all possibilities to it only hitting one particular target, one bullseye, one possibility. Your kingdom is returning. This is a big deal. It's a big situation. You meditate on the return of your kingdom, not on going into the metaverse, not on cryptocurrency, not on, the AI. It's inevitable. They're going to take over. It's not inevitable. It's only inevitable if you're just looking at it in terms of evolution. But you have a creator, you have real dragons. That's inevitable too. So which realm of inevitability, which realm of inevitability is going to take over? Is their AI going to hit synchronicity, singularity before you all come back on on the grid, on HaWah's grid, and pop off and shine like it's saying in Zechariah 12? Even the most, you know, even the one that's stumbling is going to be as sturdy as David in these days, man. You have to collapse the realm of all possibilities, because within that realm is also you being hijacked, right? That's also all happening too. We being hijacked. We tired of being hijacked, man. We tired of working for these people. We tired of dealing with their money, man. We want our things back. We want to wake up and be rich already. That's crazy to you? Then why'd you invade our land and take our things? And now it's crazy to think about waking up and already having it, because you already got it, Khan. We need to collapse the wave pattern on a particular reality. HaWah gives you 9 commandments, a 9 code. Because the first 1 and 2 are the same transgression. They count as one. Catholicism and Christianity broke it up into 2. Why? To get you out your spiral. You have a 9 code. They call the 10 commandments. But again, their first and second commandment: no graven images. Don't bow down to these other gods. Don't put no gods before me. Is one is one complete transgression, man. No power before your power. Most high over everything. All that is encompassed in no graven images. Don't bow down to him, and all this is all one transgression. Then you go to not killing, not stealing, no vanity. Those are separate transgressions. Why'd they get you out your 9 code? You observe, you collapse. You don't observe, it's all happening on your head bone. And it's not in a good way, it's in every way. And since it's all happening, they say, cool, well, it's a free for all. We'll create our own perspective. We'll give them our images. We'll create a world that exists for us, and we'll make them make it real with their imagination. They'll believe in it. They'll believe in us as superior to them. That we're inventing robots that are going to take over the future. We're inventing new currencies. They'll believe in us. Is that the lens you want to look through? Is that the collapse you want? Because with their collapse, you really do collapse. Their peace is your demise. Your peace is their demise. It just works, you know. If the real ones got their power back, then the hijack can't exist. And if the hijack, you know, got their power, or if the real ones, you know, eat their own tail, like the dragon eating its own tail, like the Ouroboros, you know, however you say. The only way a dragon can be taken down is to devour itself. And you do that as soon as you stop observing the code, as soon as you stop observing, because now it's all happening. Now the hijack says, whoa, it's all happening. I could do my magic on them. I could punish them for all the things that I've been wanting to get back at them for. They think they chose it. They think they this. They always had it. They always had the riches. They're nothing but spoiled children of HaWah. Because HaWah's always giving them stuff. They've had land. They've had everything. They even have HaWah's mercy. These other nations and tribes are looking at you with a covetous heart. You stop observing. The wave pattern is now open. It's a free for all. They make you look through their all-seeing lens, their all-seeing eye. Yeah, you know, on the back of your dollar bill. Now that's your point of observation through their eye, man. And that collapses the wave pattern on your demise, man. But as soon as you stop observing through their lens and start observing through HaWah's lens, you start observing the code. Now you're collapsing their world. It's falling apart. It's not all happening for them. It's only happening for you and your particular target bullseye of paradise. They're like, I can't keep paradise away. It's all happening. Dragons popping up. Hey, man, we're just talking quantum collapse theories, quantum mechanics with its revolutionary implications have posed innumerable problems to philosophers of science, innumerable problems like the measurement problem. How can a particle know it's being observed? This is what they're trying to figure out. Are particles waves? What is it? In particular, it has suggested reconsidering basic concepts such as the existence of a world that is independent of the observer, at least to some extent. A world independent of the observer, they have to reconsider those basic concepts as the existence of a world independent or without you observing it. They have to reconsider the basic concept of that, man. We're talking quantum. Yeah, they got quantum string theory all throughout the Marvel episodes, right? All this is antimatter, all that is quantum flow. All this is CERN, all this is, what I'm saying? So all this is the marvel, the wonder, because you are the marvel, which means the wonder. But you could be a wonder for good or a wonder for bad. You could be a wonder like, wow, you're so amazing. I just wonder at your amazement. Or you could be getting your ass kicked so bad. HaWah could be punishing you so bad that you become a byword, a proverb. They're like, damn, how can they get their ass kicked so consistently like this? Where's their things? Where's their stuff? How come they don't know they're on their own land? They arguing with their own brothers, having fallouts because their brothers trying to take them back to Africa. And we say we was never from Africa. The whole world is melanated, man. These are lies, Europeanized lies to get you out of all this land. So they could take the whole board and you're just from Africa and somehow you're supposed to find your land back in Africa and your tribes suddenly gonna fight for you now. Now the tribe's gonna fight for us. Collapse theories, man. We're experiencing what they call an awakening. We just call awareness. We're collapsing their fake ass world, man. We're seeing clearly. We're seeing clearly. Let's go. Because we're observing, so we have to see. See, quantum's all about the dragon. To see clearly, right? Etymologies. Utah, yeah, the etymology of Utah is Utah. Indigenous Utah Aztecan people, perhaps from the Apache Utah. Okay, now put a J in front. Judah. Utah is Judah. Oh, we just high. Y'all must be high. If you think you from Judah and the Mormons knew where they was going in Utah, oh, in reference to the living in the mountains, or just being the lofty people, the lofty seed of Hasharah, the lofty seed of Israel, lofty King David, high above the hijack, right? You were supposed to be placed high above your oppressors. Deuteronomy 28, you were supposed to be placed high above your oppressors, man. Yeah. Moses' eyes was never dim, nor his life force ever abated. You was supposed to be high, but all you had to do was observe, and it shall come to pass. Deuteronomy 28, verse 1, if thou shalt hearken diligently unto the voice of HaWah, your power, to what? Observe. Observe. First thing, we're talking quantum. Does the world exist if you're not independent of your observation? So you think because you lay down and go to sleep and close your eyes that the world is still going on because you observe it as you wake up? They have to question, it has suggested reconsidering basic concepts such as existence of a world that is, at least to some extent, independent of the observer. The possibility of getting reliable and objective knowledge about it, and the possibility of taking, under appropriate circumstances, at least some properties to be objectively possessed by physical systems. Yeah, what physical system are we in? Is it physical? You're the observer. HaWah gave us the key, the code to observe so that in quantum, they can't they can't conquer us in quantum, man. You're not observing them. You're observing you. But when we start observing them, their false gods, their ways, we take on their strange customs and their strange gods. We're breaking rule number one of our observation. Now we're out of code to observe, to do all his commandments, which I command thee this day, that HaWah will set you high above all the nations of the earth. Is that racist, man? Or is the creator making a pact, a covenant, a promise to never forget about Israel? Just telling us to observe. Therefore, we can get what's coming to us. We want to collapse the wave pattern on paradise, Khan. So what does that look like? What does it look like to be chased down by blessings, that everything's blessed in your life, everything's Baruch? What does that look like? Have you forgot? Because it is promised if you observe. But like what I'm telling you ain't hard to do. This ain't no wing wham. We're getting back in code, in covenant. For I have said, forever is mercy built. HaWah's mercy is forever. In the very heavens, thou dost establish your faithfulness. I have made a covenant with my chosen. So all the good and the blessings, Baruch, that's about to overtake you is based on a promise, on a covenant that you can overwhelm and overcome the hijack anytime you choose through observation, not through going crazy in the street. All you gotta do is quantum their way out this motherfucker, man. Quantum their ass up out of here, man. They can't do nothing about that. They have to let you choose up. They have to give you the right to choose. And when we don't, it's all happening. The full wave of possibilities is happening every day of your life. It's not some instantaneous magic trick. Oh, okay, today I'm gonna keep the code and I'm gonna get $1 million, man. It's a consistency. It's a truth. You know what I'm saying? It has to be you. It has to truly be what you're observing, not testing HaWah. HaWah's testing you. Before you get all this Baruch, are you gonna stay in code? I'm just not gonna give it to you till you decide to come and be good. You get out of punishment. I'm gonna hook you up with a Ferrari. So you can crash out, fool? Nah, man. Show me you a stand-up guy. Show me you listening. Show me you doing everything mama telling you to do. Show me you respecting your daddy. The code of your house, or you getting kicked out the house or put in your room. You know what I'm saying? Or you getting your ass kicked. You know what I'm saying? I mean, you know what it is. So you better respect Big Mama. You will be getting your ass kicked, man. So this is the situation. HaWah's not asking something out the ordinary. He's saying, man, can you stop running over to these fake ass false guys, making me look bad? Because I'm the big homie, and these little no guys with no power are acting like they got power, and you're making me look crazy over here, giving you all this Baruch. But when you stop making me look crazy, and when you start making yourself look respectable, and you start to observe, then this covenant comes up like, you know what I'm saying? Like a land that's been preserved, man. Like that Antarctica preservation. I have made a covenant with my chosen. I have sworn unto David, my servant. Who? So we don't got to get it twisted. Not son of David. Dawid. Oh, Dawid can't come back. We about to get it, man. Just fall back. We're going to have a good time. We're talking quantum manipulation of the flow of time. We blue marveling. Natural by law. We out of here, boss. And go get them supreme drops by the bro Natural by Law. Hit up his channel. Just go to Natural by Law and see what he's popping off with, man. It's mind blasting. Oh, bro, Natural, you're doing amazing work. My bro, you're doing it, man. You know what I'm saying? You stretching the mind bones and the heart bones, man. And you bringing it all together, man. Great conversation. Get in the classroom of the bro Natural, because this covenant is us being natural by law. This is our code. This is our law. It's natural to be in code. It's not natural to be just a wild, a wild, chaotic runt. You know what I'm saying? We acting like runts of the litter right now. You nobles, you got nobility. It's natural for you to code up because your entire nobility, your power, your source is within the code you keep. Like any knight would tell you, like any Dracan would tell you, like anybody with control, over themselves and their power would tell you, you got to go within first. You want to fight the bad man, right? You need to go within first. You can't fight off this energy you got. They got the drop on you. Look around. But you can go into quantum. You can go into reality on their ass, man. Get out they spell. Represent the code and the covenant. With my chosen, I have sworn unto David Dawid, who is Prester John, priest king, my servant. Forever will I establish your seed. I ain't gonna lie on David's name. HaWah tell us, later in this song, man, I'm not gonna be a liar unto David, man. Forever, I said, will I establish your seed and build up your throne to all generations. HaWah ain't telling us nothing crazy to observe, man. Exodus 20 got us in code. It's easy. The streets got a code. The hijack got a code, believe it or not. Come on. You can't be codeless. You can't let them steal your code and create religions mimicking your code, but not truly your code. And they're not teaching us our code. I'm about to go crazy, man. Popping off, man. We in the quantum flow. And HaWah spoke all these things. I am HaWah, your power, who brought you out of bondage, out of Egypt. You shall not, you shall have no other gods, man. God, come on, man. But what about his son who is God? The son is God, child of the son. Thou shalt have no other gods before me. Thou shalt not make unto thee a graven image, nor any manner of likeness of anything that is in heaven above, and that is in the earth beneath, or that is in the water underneath the earth. Thou shalt not bow down unto them. When did we switch transgressions? We still talking about not putting nothing before HaWah, MHOE, most high over everything, huh? Nor serve them. Don't bow down to nothing. Don't create no images, no graven gods. Don't have no other gods. When did we switch transgressions for this to be two different commandments? It's trickery, man. These fools playing chess, man. It's a frequency war, for I am HaWah, am a jealous power, visiting the iniquity of the fathers upon the children unto the third and fourth generation of them that hate me. And don't even front, however they're translating this as a jealous power. You will want your parents to care about you. You will want your parents to care if you start calling another set of parents your parents. After all your parents have done for you, you start treating another father better than your dad and a mama better than your mama. What's going to happen to you? They may translate it as jealous. There ain't no word that you can really use to describe the wrath of the creator once you start switching up like this. You embarrass yourself. You embarrass everything, man. You embarrass the creator, man, with all your gods. You have a power. Not everybody has your power. I'm talking to Israel. You have a power. Hasharah, you have a power. Awaz seed, you have a power. Children under David, you have a power. You have a shepherd, Dawid. You got a supreme source, and that source provides a shepherd, man. We get it twisted. We get all these traps in our doctrines, and we get into all these snares, man, because we're blind, man. Why? Because you stop observing. That's why you're blind. You stop observing, man. That's why you blind. So you devouring yourself, a dragon eating his own tail. You're supposed to be the head. We just got that. You're supposed to be high above these other nations. If only you would observe, stop with these other gods. Can you do that? Can you stop putting your breath in security? HaWah in vain? You want a vain breath? You want vain security? Can you remember your Shabbat? Give the Creator a full day of rest and remembrance, of enjoying the Zon and the charge up so you can charge up for the rest of your 6 days and see the Baruch happen in your life. Watch HaWah multiply everything, you know what I'm saying? Your storehouses, everything you need, your health. Watch HaWah work. But you got to be proven, not the creator. You got to be proven because you stop observing. Don't get it twisted. Anybody got nothing to prove to you? Who do you think you are that someone got to prove something to you? Man, you better get out of here with that, man. You have a father and a mother, and you better give it honor. Can you do that? We're just talking about observation. This is how we live. This is what we observe. Not slaying our brother. No more, no such and such ops and no ops, man. Fuck all that, man. Where's that taking us? I'm speaking on behalf of the whole tribe, man. Where is this taking us? Observe your brother as your brother. You say it's impossible, you just too deep in, and that's you. You're gonna have to explain that. Let me see you try to explain that when it's time. You was just too deep in to stop murdering. Just too committed to your whatever to stop murdering. You was just too committed to it, huh? You couldn't change. Let me see you try to explain this when it's all happening, man. You know what I'm saying? Thou shalt not commit adultery. That's mixing out with all lower frequencies, period. Especially, when it comes to you building in your house, you know what I'm saying? Love the Dragon Child. You mixing out with lesser frequency, lesser substance. You mixing something in of lesser value into something that is a sacred oath, man. No more stealing nobody's land. Yeah, no covetous. Don't bear false witness. Come on, can we do this? If we can observe to do these things, we'll be the head. What's number 9? Don't covet your neighbor's house or anything that's your neighbor's, his wife, people, whatever. Then they heard the thunderings and the lightnings, man. Then it started popping off. They got scared, right? Yeah, man. This is a blood oath, man. An altar of earth shall be made unto me, and shall sacrifice around thy burnt offerings, thy peace offerings, thy sheep, thy oxen, every place. Man, look, man. This is an oath. Read it for yourself and understand we're in the situation based on us breaking the oath, ceasing to observe. 9, code, covet. 1, false witness. 2, stealing. 3, adultery. 4, murder. 5, no honor for your frame or your shaper. 6, Shabbat. 7, no vanity. 8, we all in vanity. Social media is full of vanity. Our whole lives are about vanity, man. No vanity. If you're gonna be in it, be a warrior in this shit, man. But don't let it be, don't let it, do you. You do it. You know what I'm saying? No vanity, especially and particularly regarding the name of HaWah. Because it's about the name when it comes to vanity, particularly when it comes to the code. No other gods. Number 9. All this is number 9, which is really number 1. Hey, it's the 9 code. This is what we observe. No other powers before HaWah, no vanity. Remember your Shabbat, honor your frame and your shaper, your mother and father. No murder, no adultery, no stealing, no false witnessing, no covenant. We just did part 4 of the Code Keeper series. Look out for part 5 when we back on these false witnesses. You ain't no witness to nothing. What are you speaking on? That didn't happen. What are you talking about? What are you insinuating? You're a false witness. 9 code, can you observe? Can we observe? To observe, it shall come to pass if thou shalt hearken diligently unto HaWah. Of HaWah, the voice of HaWah, to observe, to do all his commandments, which I command you this day. We just got the 9 code. You got no excuse. It's easy not to slay your brother, man. You got to break the cycle. It don't matter who's up, who's down, what the point is. It don't matter. None of that matters no more. This is your time. You can't miss this shift. You can't miss the ether bus. Natural by law got the wheel. Let's go, man. Then HaWah would set you where? High. High? Yeah, high. Like Udall? Yeah, like Judah. The scepter would never depart. Genesis, right? So high. High is high, man. You know? Don't be no false witness, man. Keep the 9 code. MHOE, no other gods, no other powers. You shall not make no graven images. Come on, man. You got this guy on the cross. Come on, man. Graven. The Christian can't get past rule number 1. A lot of my noggins can't get past rule number 1. So you are failing to observe. And when you fail to observe, this is why it's all happening. This is why they on your ass. because you're allowing it to be all happening. You're allowing the entire wave pattern to go uncollapsed. So they can force a collapse by making you observe through their lens, whatever they choose to put in front of you to observe. Yeah. What happens when we observe? We collapse the wave pattern, and all these blessings shall come upon you. That doesn't sound like the plan of y'all. That ain't the play. You want to go about your day, and this ain't the play to have all the Baruch come upon you and overtake you. Have you ever been overtaken with blessing on blessing on blessings every day, overtaken by Baruch? And thou shalt hearken unto the voice. If you will hearken, if you will observe, you can collapse the wave pattern on paradise. Baruch will you be in the city. Baruch shall you be in the field. Baruch shall be the fruit of your body. Ain't this what it's all about? Our children, leaving them Baruch, not vanity, but Baruch, real Baruch from HaWah, real Baruch. Shouldn't this be the victory? So why should we have an issue observing to set up this play of Baruch, which ain't no play? The fruit of your land ain't no play. Your cattle, increase of your kind, that's all your things, man. That's all your livelihood. Back then, the cattle was a livelihood. Right now, whatever you consider your livelihood in Baruch from HaWah is the fruit of your cattle, the increase of your kind, and the young of your flock. Baruch shall be your basket in your kneading through. This is all the goodness in your life, man. Baruch shall thou be when you come in. Baruch shall you be when you go out. Tell me a noggin in the hood that don't have to at least think twice before you go out. Like, all right, man, is this cool? Do I have anybody, lurking, or is the popo lurking? It's all kinds of issues, right? You don't know the last time you felt Baruch when you went out every time. And Baruch when you come in. HaWah will cause your enemies that rise up. See, this is the fun part, right? This is the part that they need to keep you from observing, collapsing the wave pattern. HaWah will cause your enemies that rise up against you to be smitten before you. You can slay your enemies by keeping the code. It is the ultimate weapon. And as a tribe, you are unmesswittable. Just in terms of energy, frequency, vibration, and quantum, your observation kills their wave pattern. It kills their possibility of hijacking you because you're hitting a target now. You're hitting the bullseye perfectly and directly. You're in paradise. They can't touch you. They can't see you. You got Baruch everywhere you come in, Baruch everywhere you go out. You've been overtaken with Baruch, man. The fruit of your land, everything. Your enemies, HaWah will cause your enemies that rise up. You know who they are. You know who they are. Oh, yeah, it's a more and more war. A lot of them don't, look very different than us. A lot of the ones that's, really pushing all of this adversity. Yeah, that's the Satan, right? Your real Satan looks just like you, and they will be smitten, and everybody down with them. They shall come out against you one way and shall flee before you 7 ways. Dragons everywhere. HaWah will command the Baruch with you in your barns. See, this Baruch is commanded. It's a commandment. Name a commandment of the Creator that don't get fulfilled. So I advise you take this Baruch very serious. This is real serious Baruch. It's a command that this Baruch, the Baruch with you, HaWah will command the Baruch with you in your barns, your homes, man, everywhere you are, and in all that you put your hand unto, man. He will Baruch you. Anaga, everything you put is your hand unto. He will Baruch you. You think it's fake? You think this is fake Baruch, man? Why don't you try it? Not just for the blessings, but to be a good child, to honor your father and your mother, to listen, take the advice, take what's yours, take your nobility. You can't have your nobility without code, and you can't have code without observation. And what happens when you don't observe? It's all happening. HaWah doesn't want that. HaWah wants to give us that Baruch in our barns. HaWah wants to make sure everything we put our hand on is popping off. Nagaville, popping off, man. Joy World, popping off. Copperland, popping off. Man, everybody's land is popping off. Nagaville, in the land which HaWah gives you, talking Nagaville. HaWah will establish you for a holy people unto himself, as he has sworn unto you. If you shall observe, keep the code of HaWah your power, and walk in his ways, and all the peoples of the earth shall see that the name of HaWah is called upon you, and they shall be afraid of you, my Naga. And HaWah will make you overabundant for good in the fruit of your body, and in the fruit of your cattle, and in the fruit of your land, and in the fruit which HaWah swore unto your fathers to give you. In the fruit of the land, in the land which HaWah swore unto our ancestors for us to one day have. HaWah will open unto you his good treasure, the heaven, to give the rain of your land in its season. Don't you have crops that need rain? You can water them, but they need HaWah, and to Baruch all the work of your hand. And thou shalt lend unto many nations, but thou shalt not borrow. This is what the Jewish got on lock. They got everyone borrowing. These banks borrow, lenders. You're supposed to be the lender. You're supposed to charge them interest, but you ain't supposed to charge your Naga interest. Popping off. Leviticus 25, you ain't supposed to charge your brother no interest. Put nothing on top of it. They borrow 5, they return 5. Shall not borrow. You supposed to lend, thou shalt lend, and they shall borrow. And HaWah will make you his head, the head and not the tail, man. It's the important part. This is what quantum's all about. When you observe, you are the head and not the tail. Clear my throat, man. Been popping off all day. Sometimes it's that type of day, you know what I mean? I'm grateful to be here with y'all, because without my knockers over here, drop might go crazy, man. I appreciate y'all being here, tuning in. I know I just be popping off. Hey, out to all my, new wave surfers, I appreciate y'all. Look, man, you just caught us at a good time, man. It's a great time to belly flop. Just enjoy the wave, surf the wave, and observe, because this is all we about over here is sharpening our observation. That's what the tribe had to start getting to Even before they got into the wilderness, they had to relearn the code before they got all them other decrees and stipulations, you know what I'm saying, all the other statutes and what to do with their fringes and what to do with this. They first had to be code keepers or it's for nothing, it's vanity. We're doing this again. We gotta first learn to be code keepers before we tripping on fringes and beards and this and all the vain things that you're not in captivity for. You're in captivity because you're not keeping the code. The code, man. You got powers before HaWah. You're slaying your brother. You're stealing from your brother. We're out of code. This ain't got nothing to do with fringes and beards. What type of outfit you wearing? Are you resting? Are you keeping your rest day? Are you in complete rest? Yes or no? We all trying, man, right? But this is what we have to observe, to power up, to charge up. Mighty morphin, right? We're gonna be talking this morph, quantum, what's it called? Morphin. Love to my fan that dropped this on me. Quantum morphogenic fields. Oh man, we're about to get it. Shout out to Quantum University. Quantum University. I guess you could get your degree, man. You got career paths, man. You could pop off over here, but we're gonna talk some morphogenics. Sorry, man, I can't get your name off top, but great suggestion on this because he said he had a vision or a dream or something, and he was back in the 1500s, and he saw the Moors in America, and they were using quantum morphogenetic morphogenetic technology to build their temples, and they were popping off with quantum morphogenetic technologies. And I said, damn, I never heard of that. We talking quantum. Let's talk quantum. First, let's talk code. And first, let's talk observation and being the head and not the tail. And you shall be above only like high, like Utah. You should be above only. It's not because, oh, we want black people to be on top of white people. No, we're not in that paradigm. It's tribal war. We want the seed of Dawid. We want the seed of Jacob to take back and have back what's commanded that they will have back if we keep our commandments, if we observe. We want our overabundant good, man. We want the fruit of our body. We want the fruit of our things, all our stuff, our land, everything that gives us abundance. We want it all back. We want our flocks. We want everything that's ours. We want our land, man. But what's the point of land without shalom? You got no protection. You don't got no shalom without protection. Again, what's security without breath? And what's breath without security? Wow. HaWah will open unto you his good treasure, the heaven to give the rain of the land in its season, and Baruch all the work of your hand, and you shall lend unto many nations, but thou shalt not borrow. So they don't got you on no hook no more. You want to go get a car? Now you got a car loan. Now you borrowing from them again, right? We all in these situations, mortgages. Come on, man. We're supposed to be living, not dead, with these mortgage, right? We know how the banks is flipping it. We know, man. Love to my sister, my aqua, Mama T. You know what I'm saying? I got you, Mama T. We're gonna catch up with that great drop you getting, you know what I'm saying, on how to, free up your resources, you know what I mean? So this is all, this is all in the flow. Kawhi is giving it back, giving us our Baruch, giving the fat of our land back, right? Kawhi will make you the head and not the tail, Khan. If you observe, collapse the wave pattern by observation. Or you want it all to be happening against you. Because HaWah can't reward you when you're not observing. You can't reward your child when they're not observing my noggin. And thou shalt be above only, and thou shalt not, not be beneath. Why are we beneath these other races? Right now, they created race. We're not talking tribe no more. Now we got a black race and a white race and an Asian race. Fake, fake, fake. What tribe are you? Who are you hiding in our tents, stealing our identity, man? Thou shalt not steal. If thou shalt hearken unto the commandments of HaWah, your power, which I command you this day, to observe and do them, and shall not turn aside from any of the words which I command you this day, to do the right hand, to the right hand or the left, to go after other gods and serve them. This is what it's really all about. Not beard and fringes, not vanity, but what other powers are you serving? What do you think you have to go through to get to the creator? I got to go through the sun. I got to go through the sun to get to the Father. Christianity. I don't care what you call it. It's Christianity. And it shall come to pass, if thou wilt not hearken unto the voice of HaWah, to observe, to do, to what? To observe. You don't want to observe? You want it to be all happening? To do all his commandments and his statutes, which I command you this day, then all these curses shall come upon you and overtake you. All these curses. You brought it on yourself because you failed to observe. If thou wilt not hearken, you don't want to observe. Now you got to deal with curses because the whole wave pattern is exposed against you. It will overtake you as it has done. It will destroy you, man. Cursed shall you be in the city. Cursed shall you be in the field. Cursed shall be your basket, the fruit of your body. Your children, our children are being cursed because of the lack of observation, man. But if we observe, all the blessings come and overtake you. If you listen, blessed shall you be in the city. Baruch shall you be in the field. Baruch shall be the fruit of your body, the fruit of your land, your cattle. Everything Baruch. All this Baruch shall come your way, and your enemies will flee 7 ways. Or why will cause your enemies that rise up against you to be smitten if you only observe? Moses observed because his eyes was never dim, not dim, nor his natural force reduced, abated, lessened. He had the magic eye. In Marvel, they call it the evil eye. And etymology, they call it the one with the deadly glance. Yeah, I'm talking dragon, man. Here, look out for more House of Dragon reviews, man. Having a good time vibing with y'all in real time. Hey, we gotta have fun and we gotta be there for each other, you know what I mean? Because I know we're seeing very similar things from hijack, and it's good to discuss it. Sometimes you need an an aqua, you know what I mean, to walk through hijack city with, because we gotta get the dragonfly perspective. We gotta see clearly. So as we talk about dragon and we talk about quantum, we're talking to see, and to see is observation. To see. You can't observe if you're not seeing, man. Visible. If it's not visible, you're not observing. I have seen light clear. Then they say, from a literal sense, the one with the deadly glance. Yeah. With the deadly glance, right? And we say, damn, that reminds us a lot of Marvel. I'm just talking Prester John. Is in Marvel. Yeah, Prester. Yeah. You know, Prester, High Pope, Emperor of India, three Indias, Ethiopia, John Prester, John the Presbyter, John the Priest, the keeper of memory. He got that mem sauce. Patriarch John, Presbyter Johannes, Presbyter John, Priest John, Sinapis. Okay, that's a new one. Sultan John of Babylon, the Wanderer. Oh, the Tishbite, like Elijah. Malachi 4. Oh, Elijah's returning. They all seem to be returning. David can't return. You got to replace him with the son of David. Come on, man. Everybody's returning. He got the evil eye, right? After the Crusades, John traveled the world until he found the Isle of Avalon. There he gained the evil eye. We said, what's the evil eye? Oh, it's a device. It's technologies. God, the evil eye is technology placed in the care of Prester John until it seemingly exploded. It's technology. The device actually split into 6 pieces and spread throughout the globe. Became the focal point of the Avenger Defender War. Now they get Infinity Stones, man. Prester John carried a new version of the evil eye called the Stellar Rod. Now you got a rod like a staff, right? Like that emerald staff is the technology of the evil eye. It's the new version. The evil eye is made of an unknown metal, like a dragon is a substance of unknown origin, right? Capable of manipulating quantum manipulation of the flow of time, matter on a molecular level, quantum manipulation of the flow of time, firing concussive force blasts, my naga, the one with the deadly glance, right? The one with the deadly glance. Because when you see clearly, they have a big problem with your observation. The evil eye, the one with the deadly glance. Now you got force blasts out your eyeballs, man. Disintegrating matter, nullifying other energy sources, and creating or destroying force fields. The evil eye possesses dimensional time travel abilities as well. Quantum manipulation of the flow of time. You say Prester went into the past after he had a fight with Kang or Khan. According to the Marvel story, he went into the past. He went into suspended animation. That's funny. So did Moses. As Moses was 120 years old when he died, his eye was not dim. What does that mean? Someone make it make sense. How can you be dead and your eye is not dim, nor is your natural force reduced or abated? What is abated? 1828. Do you got this word in 1828? Mr. 1828? Yes, you do. Yes, you do. Lessened, decreased, destroyed. Right. Anaga, you're a marvel. You can die and your natural force is not destroyed. You are a wonder. That which arrests the attention and causes a person to stand or gaze. They look at you every time you walk in the room. They pause. They they wonder at you. They study you. They're astonished by you. They're wondering, man. And you will become a wonder in the name of shame among all the nations where HaWah would take you. Yeah, that's in Deuteronomy 28. We were just there, right? That's in verse 37. After you don't observe, you get the curses and you become a wonder, a byword, a proverb, right? And thou shalt become an astonishment. a proverb and a byword among all the peoples, where HaWah shall lead you away. They are wondering, they are marveling. You become a wonderment, a proverb, a wonder. Moses, his natural force was never destroyed. His natural force was never decreased. His natural force was never lessened. Deuteronomy 34, verse 7. And Moses was 120 years old when he died. Okay. His eye, evil eye, one with the deadly glance, was not dim, nor his natural force lessened or reduced, decreased, or destroyed, mitigated, defeated, remitted, or overthrown. It was never lessened, never decreased. His natural force, natural by law, Ahab to the Khan. And the children of Israel wept for Moshe, right? But he didn't die. His natural force was never lessened. That's a wonder all in itself. We observe, we collapse the wave pattern. Back to the collapse theory, which is, revolutionary implications, man. That means it changes everything. When you realize the power of observation has posed innumerable problems to philosophers of science in particular, it has suggested reconsidering basic concepts, my naga. It don't get no more basic than observation. Do you see clearly? Do you see clearly? Do you have a dragon flood eye perspective? Are you the one with the evil eye or the deadly glance? Prester John, he got time travel abilities connected with this evil eye device, this stellar rod. What's a rod? Come on. As the plague seemed to wipe out the citizens of Avalon, John prepared to sit upon the seat of survival, which would place him in suspended animation. Just like Moshe, where his eye was never dim, nor his natural force abated. Sounds like suspended animation. However, Kang appeared, right? Is that Genghis Khan? I don't know, but it just sounds like it. Trying to get John to join him. As a result of their battle, John was sent into the past. He attempted to manipulate events in the past, right? Quantum manipulation of the flow of time, advising of Frankish kings. Remember, the Frank and the Andrews are part and parcel in creating these swan knights, Monagas. So the Franks are tribed up with Israel to battle, advising a Frankish king to battle Viking. He was stopped by Thunderstrike, then acting as Thor. So all you see is the more and more war happening. These Vikings are us. The Frankish kings are us. These are Davidic kings going at it. All sons connected to the Prester in one way or the other, you know what I'm saying? Either through the women or through the men, however it's going, they're fighting for position. He got to go against Zeus, right? He got to go against Thor with the thunderbolt, right? And then what happens? What happens, man? John was sent into the past. Quantum manipulation of the flow of time. All around this evil eye, or the one with the deadly glance, or dragon, or stellar rod. Remember, Moshe made the stellar rod turn into the copper dragon. The rod is the dragon. The dragon is the evil eye, which is only to see clearly, which is evil to the hijack, which is Baruch for you, but they will consider anything good for you or revolutionary with these revolutionary implications. That's evil for them because it means the end of all their possibilities of hijacking you. innumerable problems for the hijack philosophers of science. In, in particular, has suggested reconsidering basic concepts such as the existence of a world that is, at least to some extent, independent of the observer, the possibility of getting reliable and objective knowledge, right? So, how do we know that your world exists when you're not observing it? That's the basic fundamental question in quantum, especially around this collapse situation. Wow. I mean, it has raised many other questions which are well known to those involved in the debate on the interpretation of this pillar of modern science. One can argue that most of the problems are not only due to intrinsic revolutionary nature of the phenomena which have led to the development of the theory, they are also related to the fact that in its standard formulation and interpretation, quantum mechanics is a theory which is excellent in telling us everything about what we observe, but it meets with serious difficulties in telling us what there is, because how do we know it's even there when we're not observing it? We are making here specific reference to the central problem of the theory, usually referred to as the measurement problem. What's the measurement problem? In quantum mechanics, the measurement problem is the problem of how or whether wave function collapse occurs. They don't understand it. They don't get the how or whether it does at all. The inability to observe, keep the code, observe such a collapse directly has given rise to different interpretations of quantum mechanics. Because all they know is that when they observe, it's collapsed. They can't really observe the how of it all. It's giving rise to different interpretations of quantum mechanics and poses a key set of questions that each interpretation must answer. So they get into the whole wave function flow. I'll leave a link so you can dig deeper. We just talking Dr. Quantum, man, and just right quick, fair use in your caboose bowl, man. I'm gonna revisit a classic. This is a classic that we were digging on, at the very start of things. So if you're brand new surfing the wave with us, this is a real treat, man. You get to really surf the wave like we never surfed the wave before and get it like it's the first time for the Templar. Section 107, man. Fair use, you know what I'm saying? You know what I'm saying? Criticism, comments, news reporting, teaching, scholarship, education, and recon. Come on, man. All right. Dr. Quantum, hey, man, take the wheel.
Here we are, granddaddy of all quantum weirdness, the infamous double slit experiment. To understand this experiment, we first need to see how particles, or little balls of matter, act. If we randomly shoot a small object, say a marble, at the screen, we see a pattern on the back wall where they went through the slit and hit. Now, if we add a second slit, we would expect to see a second band duplicated to the right. Now, let's look at waves. The waves hit the slit and radiate out, striking the back wall with the most intensity directly in line with the slit. The line of brightness on the back screen shows that intensity. This is similar to the line the marbles make. But when we add the second slit, something different happens. If the top of one wave meets the bottom of another wave, they cancel each other out. So now there is an interference pattern on the back wall. Places where the two tops meet are the highest intensity, the bright lines, and where they cancel, there is nothing. So when we throw things, that is matter, through two slits, we get this, two bands of hits. And with waves, we get an interference pattern of many bands. Good. so far. Now, let's go quantum.
Let go.
An electron is a tiny, tiny bit of matter, like a tiny marble. Fire a stream through one slit. It behaves just like the marble, a single band. So, if we shoot these tiny bits through two slits, we should get, like the marbles, two bands. What? An interference pattern. We fired electrons, tiny bits of matter through. We get a pattern like waves, not like little marbles. How? How could pieces of matter create an interference pattern like a wave? It doesn't make sense. But physicists are clever. They thought maybe those little balls are bouncing off each other and creating that pattern. So they decide to shoot electrons through one at a time. There is no way they can interfere with each other. But after an hour of this, the same interference pattern is seen to emerge. The conclusion is inescapable. The single electron leaves as a particle, becomes a wave of potentials, goes through both slits, and interferes with itself to hit the wall like a particle. But mathematically, it's even stranger. It goes through both slits and it goes through neither. And it goes through just one and it goes through just the other.
It's all happening. Every possibility. You don't have to try to choose up. You've already chosen up on some part of this wave. We saying we surfing the wave. But surfing the wave doesn't mean you want it all to be happening all the time. Don't you want to shut it down and get some sleep? You want a big party happening in your house? You want every possibility happening when you're driving? No, you want to collapse it on, let me have a nice safe drive and a nice scenic, beautiful drive. Like you want a particular beautiful flow. You don't want it all to be happening, my noggin. HaWah got a kingdom for a noggin. HaWah got land for a noggin. HaWah got Baruch abounding, Baruch to overtake a noggin. Where's that? Where's that checkpoint at? You gotta hit that towel, right? X marks the spot. You gotta hit that mark, that bullseye, right? They say, you know what I mean? You know, I'm talking about the target, you know what I mean? You wanna hit the towel, then you must observe. But what happens when they measure it? It's a measuring problem.
Are in superposition with each other. But physicists were completely baffled by this. So they decided to peek and see which slit it actually goes through. They put a measuring device by one slit to see which one it went through and let it fly. But the quantum world is far more mysterious than they could have imagined.
Uh-oh.
When they observed, the electron went back to behaving like a little marble. It produced a pattern of two bands, not an interference pattern of many. The very act of measuring or observing which slit it went through meant it only went through one, not both. The electron decided to act differently, as though it was aware it was being watched.
I just want you to pause and understand this and apply it to observing the code. The code knows when it's being watched. Everything does. You know, you got a computer in front of you. Those are particles choosing one particular possibility to be a computer. But when you're not at your computer, how do you know that computer is even there, man? You're not witnessing it. You're not observing it. Then you do observe it. It behaves exactly like, you know, you have already made the contract that it already is. It's a computer. You believe that. That's what it is. But that computer is also a horse. It's also everything. Like it's all happening. But for you, it's a computer. One possibility, right? No, wrong. You're on a whole wave. You that chose up exists. You that chose down exists. You at 14 is still existing. You at 3 exists. You don't die because you exist at some point of the wave. They can't kill you because you're a part of the wave. You are the wave. Maybe one particular possibility of you, gets destroyed, but that's not even close to all of you. And all you do is continue. But when you don't observe HaWah, right? You observe through their all-seeing eye. You observe through their media, through their medium, through their telescopes and television. If the particle knows it's being observed, man, and everything is a particle on a atomic level, whatever you want to go, quantum is beyond your atomic structure. Think about melanin. Like my neighbor told me, he said, man, doing the calculations, every naga's worth about $40 million to them. Of all your melanin, you like a walking lick around here. They looking at you like a walking lick. 40 million, 40 million a naga. That's why they make the big business money off of us, right? Off of selling our insides, right? Come on. Observing through their lens got us in this curse. Observing HaWah gives us abundant Baruch. What are you observing? Because every particle knows when it's being observed, and a particle is the wave. So the wave knows when it's being observed. And that's why we popping off.
Was here that physicists stepped forever into the strange netherworld of quantum events. What is matter? Marbles or waves? Interference pattern of many. The very act of measuring or observing which slit it went through meant it only went through one, not both. The electron decided to act differently, as though it was aware it was being watched. And it was here that physicists stepped forever into the strange netherworld of quantum events. What is matter? Marbles or waves? And waves of what? And what does an observer have to do with any of this?
Uh-oh.
The observer collapsed the wave function simply by observing.
Look at this. So they went into this magic eyeball and they get a certain reality, right? What reality does a hijack have a naga observing? You from Africa, you just off the slave boat. Nobody in Africa and the whole continent went to war for you to keep your ass in Africa. No one came and got you. You just come from some cowardly people, right? You just feel like a coward, weak. You got on a slave boat. Now you popping off. Now you got Native Americans, but you're not them. You got Africans, but they ain't checking for you. You're nobody. No one's checking for you. You ain't shit. Come on, man. That's the lens. And here, take our Christ, take our doctrine, but we'll never teach you the code. The very act of observing changes your reality.
Use the pattern of two bands, not an interference pattern of many. The very act of measuring or observing which slit it went through meant it only went through one,
Bang.
not both.
Gotta observe.
The electron decided to act differently, as though it was aware it was being watched. And it was here that physicists stepped forever into the strange netherworld of quantum events. What is matter? Marbles or waves? And waves of what? And what does an observer have to do with any of this? The observer collapsed the wave function
Simply By observing. Man, you in the Matrix, right? I mean, they want us to believe it's just Marvel and fandom, but even in their superpower wiki, comic-based powers, molecular manipulation, it's all about this. They just put it right in your face and call it comics, man. It's comical, right? That you don't know who you are. Quantum string manipulation, the power to bend reality, which is what's happening to you and me, by altering the quantum strings which make up reality, which is based on observation, hijack city, variation of quantum manipulation, thread manipulation, and reality warping. So you don't know what reality you're in, man. Quantum manipulation. This is in the fandom, the quantum omni-universe battlefield. Let's go. The power to control quantum physics and particles such as quarks or strings. One who controls this easily holds control over quantum physics. It's all about control. They control the dragon. They slay the dragon. They bring you neutrality. That's one of Blue Marvel's weaknesses. Neutrality. And they have him in neutrality. He's not really for his people like that. That's not how they're presenting him. He just wants to save the earth. Everybody loves him, but everybody hates him because he's not really for anybody. He's neutral. And that's how you slay the dragon. Find me a neutral dragon that doesn't care about the code, that doesn't care about, have a particular purpose, you know what I'm saying? Fighting on a particular side, just a neutral ass dragon, a lukewarm dragon. Come on, man, they popping off. Either they for you or they against you, straight up. And you know they're against the hijack, so the only other option is that they're for a Naga. They're for the oppressed, the disenfranchised, the hoodwinked, the bamboozled Nagas. We got to get our control because they're controlling us using this quantum flow with manipulation of flow and time, a branch of physics that explains the behavior of matter and its interactions with energy. My Naga, energy is all we've been talking about. Frequency, vibration, 432, we spiraling up on the scale of atoms and subatomic particles. And on the scale of atoms, Dr. Quantum is shooting them one by one, popping off. And it wasn't until observation hit.
It's a tiny, tiny bit of matter, like a tiny marble. Let's fire a streak through one slit. Behaves just like the marble, single band. So, if we shoot these tiny bits through two slits, we should get, like the marbles, two bands. What? An interference pattern. We fired electrons, tiny bits of matter through. We get a pattern like waves, not like little marbles. How? How could pieces of matter create an interference pattern like a wave? It doesn't make sense. But physicists are clever. They thought maybe those little balls are bouncing off each other and creating that pattern. So they decide to shoot electrons through one at a time. There is no way they can interfere with each other. But after an hour of this, the same interference pattern is seen to emerge. The conclusion is inescapable. The single electron leaves as a particle, becomes a wave of potentials, goes through both slits, and interferes with itself to hit the wall like a particle. But mathematically, it's even stranger. It goes through both slits and it goes through neither.
We got to get back on the law of nines because the nine, the spiral is everything and nothing. Can be everything, boss, or you can't find it. or it can vanish on your ass. It's everything or it's nothing. You know, when you're surfing the wave, you got to dodge the hijack and you got to get out your own way. You know, you can't create interference patterns and get upset about the reaction. You created the interference pattern by something within you that is out of code, covetous, false witness. And maybe you got your act together, but you still put out them ripples. You still put out them interference patterns. And you got to continue, you know, to stay on the wave, you know, even if you create more turbulence and chaos, because that mem sauce sometimes can be chaos on your ass.
An electron is a tiny, tiny bit of matter with the most intensity directly in line with the slit. The line of brightness on the back screen shows that intensity. This is similar to the line the marbles make. But when we add the second slit, something different happens. If the top of one wave meets the bottom of another wave, they cancel each other out. So now there is an interference pattern.
Bang. When you have an interference pattern, you now have a full wave pattern of all possibilities happening. And you're mad that things are happening, not what you expect. You're shocked. You're confused. You created an interference pattern. You created a way for it all to be happening. Don't get upset about the reaction now. Learn to stop creating an interference pattern. Observe, keep the code, and collapse the wave pattern on paradise.
On the wall, places where the two tops meet are the highest intensity, the bright lines, and where they cancel, there is nothing.
So, man, let's go. We got it. Let's go. Yeah. We're talking atoms, neutrons, electrons, right? So they are aware, Shalak, they are aware when they're being observed. Everything around your house, everything in a person, you know what I'm saying, is aware. All the atoms that makes up your body, they're aware, individually aware. Awareness is collective, it's collective awareness. This code we are observing is aware. Because we observe to do all his commandments, which HaWah commands us. Manage, it's maximum pop offness. Once HaWah gave us this code, all the people perceived the thunderings, the lightnings of these dragons, the voice of the horn, the mountains smoking, man. Dracons everywhere. And when people saw it, they trembled and stood afar off. And they said unto Moses, speak with us, and we will hear it. But let not HaWah speak with us, lest we die. He's at maximum pop offness. We can't even try to communicate with this with this thundering and lightning. This is major dragon activity. Let's just fall back and talk to you, Moshe. And Moshe said unto the people, fear not, HaWah has come to prove you, not destroy you, man. And that his fear may be before you, that you sin not. He just want to make sure you focused. And the people stood far off, but Moses drew near into the thick darkness where HaWah was. Why does HaWah got to be in the thick darkness? And HaWah said unto Moshe, thus thou shalt say unto the children of Israel, you yourselves have seen that I talked with you from heaven. You shall not make me gods of silver or gods of gold. You shall not make unto you an altar on earth. Thou shalt make unto me an altar on earth. Thou shalt make unto me, Shalah, and shall sacrifice thereon your burnt offering. So, you know, you got to seal the deal. This is a commitment in blood. This time we got sheep, oxen, all this, right? So, you know, they have to take this hit. They got to be sacrificed so that you don't got to be sacrificed. Back then, you could sacrifice a sheep, an ox, whatever, and that'll take away your sin, quote unquote. That death will atone for the death that should be on your head bone. Then HaWah said, "Now you're gonna be the sacrifice. I don't want no more of your vain sacrifices. You the sacrifice." Now we got rolled up on. We died in the millions. We were crucified, not JC. We were crucified, hung on trees, man. We were cursed because we refused to observe. No other gods, no vanity. Keep your Shabbat holy. Rest, man. Close your gates. Honor your father, your mother. Thou shalt not murder. Thou shalt not commit adultery. Thou shalt not steal. Thou shalt not bear false witness. No covetous. That's the 9 code. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. The 9 is everything or nothing. The wave is everything or nothing. But for you, you got to make it into something. So we're not lessened, so that we're not abated. Because Moshe was never dim. His natural force was never abated. What do you mean he died? Translator, quantum morphogenetic fields of the body, love to quantumuniversity.com, according to the hypothesis of formative causation, all self-organizing systems, including crystals, plants, and animals, contain an inherent memory. Remember that Japanese doctor that proved that water got memory? Water remembers. Even in the what's that Frozen movie? It's called Frozen on Disney. They were talking about water memory and how the water remembers. Given by a process called Morphic Resonance from previous similar systems, all human beings draw upon a collective human memory. Halal HaWah, what they call Prester. He is the keeper of memories. We're just talking aliases of the Prester, Yeah, man. They brought me right back here. All right. So he's the keeper of memories. God. Collective human memory. We're talking quantum, right? We're talking seats of survival, suspended animation, blue marbling. Let's get there. I think we earned our blue marble flow because now we can understand the quantum flow a little clearer, just a little clearer, right? So all crystals, plants, and animals contain memory, inherent memory. The crystals remember, the plants remember, you remember. They say it's called subconscious memory, man, but you remember, given by a process called morphic resonance from previous similar systems. All human beings draw upon collective human memory and in turn contributed. Even individual memory depends on morphic resonance. Mighty Morphin Power Ranger. Resonance frequencies, man. You hit that frequency by observation. The code puts the entire tribe in a higher vibration. The code, not killing and stealing and all these false gods and false witnessing. Managa, no covetous, puts you in a higher resonance. Now you can Mighty Morphin Power Ranger. Now you can morph like a Power Ranger. I heard somebody talking and saying, that yeah, those Israelites on the corner, they think they're gonna have superpowers. I had to stop them and say, look, first of all, you ain't just gonna be talking about every Israelite that wants to, spread the word on the corner. It's just a few of these camps have similar roots, and Nine Spiral is dissecting it. Raptor News, rest in power, dissected it, and his son and his family continue to dissect the hijack to get you plugged directly into HaWah, the creator only. But we got good Nagas that stand out there too. You know what I'm saying? So are they going to be superheroes? I had to stop them and say, uh, if melanin is $40 million a Naga, there might be something real supreme about it. And HaWah saying in the book of Zechariah, the Nagas is popping off, in some supreme way, some marvelous way, some wonderment, some astonishment going on. Second Baruch chapter 51 also goes into this pop offness, man. So, those Nagas in code definitely will have a morph, a transmutation into a light flow frequency, a resonance, a greater light. We're going to get it for the decimal, man. Rather than on the physical memory traces stored within the brain. So even individual memory depends on morphic resonance rather than physical memory traces stored within the brain. You have a resonant memory, not your memory in the brain. Resonance. This hypothesis is testable experimentally and implies that the so-called laws of nature are more like habits. Keeping the code is not a hobby, it's what you do. Morphic resonance works through morphic fields, which organize the bodies of plants and animals through vibratory patterns. We vibing up, man. Our pattern is our Shabbat. Our pattern is our observation of our code and underlie their abilities to regenerate and heal after damage. Underlie, so at the basis of your ability to heal and regenerate, and don't you need some healing? Ain't we been damaged? Don't we need to be morphed, organized, resonate? Morphic fields also coordinate the vibratory activities of the nervous system, which is everything connected with your kundalini, your spiral, your drakan, and are closely connected to mental activity. Bang. Minds are extended beyond brains through these fields. Your mind is extended beyond your brain, beyond your brain bone. Through the mighty Morphic Power Ranger. Yeah, there's dropping everything. There's truth in all this stuff. And the effects of attention and intention, right? Because your attention is what you observe. Your intention is where your heart is, your purpose. Don't observe the code so you can come up. Observe the code because you want the tribe to come up. Do it for the tribe, not yourself. Do it for everybody. Do it for everything. Get on the proper resonance. Because they're just experimenting with it, man. Mighty Morphin Power Ranger. Your morphic resonance is different than your physical memory. We want to have our resonance. We want to have our vibratory activity. Yeah. Is the Khan going to return, man? I mean, last time that I checked, Jeremiah 30, all these words concerning Israel and Judah, we have heard a voice of trembling, of fear, and not of peace. Talking about these Nagas in Nagaville. Ask you now and see whether a man does travail with child. Wherefore do I see every man with his hands on his loins as a woman in travail? So why do I see them looking like they all in labor? Because they're loathing so heavenly. And all faces turn into paleness. Alas, for that day is great. What day? HaWah's day. Jacob's trouble, right? So that none is like it. It is a time of trouble unto Jacob, not in code Jacob, out of code Jacob, which is sadly the majority of Jacob. But out of it shall he be saved. Khan. Remember HaWah's mercies forever. Psalms 89. And it shall come to pass in that day, says HaWah, that I will break his yoke from off your neck and burst your band. And strangers shall no more make you their slaves. Slaving at work all day. No more, man. You free. Here's your land. Here's your things. Pop off. But they shall serve HaWah their power and David their king, whom I will raise up unto them. David's going to be raised up. Elijah coming back. Malachi chapter 4. What's it say in Second Baruch chapter 50? And he answered and said to me, listen, Baruch, to this word and write down in your memory of your heart all that you shall learn. For the earth will surely give back the dead at that time. What time? Quantum manipulation of flowing time. Are we in a quantum bubble, man? That's when we're getting serious, because we just said at that time, a time of trouble. That day is great. God, that day is great. Forever will I establish your seed and build your throne. I've sworn to David, my servant. What time is this going on at, man? Oh, we're just talking about the end of days. Wow. Nor will I be false to my faithfulness. My covenant will I not profane nor alter that which is gone out of my lips, my covenant will I not profane nor alter that which is gone out of my lips. Once I have sworn by my holiness, surely I would not be false unto David. His seed shall endure forever as his throne, as the sun before me. It shall be established forever as the moon and be steadfast as the witness in the sky. At last that day is great, so that there is none like it, and it's a time of trouble unto Jacob, but out of it he shall be saved. Jeremiah 30, verse 8. And it shall come to pass in that day, what day? Says HaWah of hosts, that I will break his yoke from off your neck, right? Back to observing Deuteronomy 28. You got all the blessings, you got all the Baruch. Everywhere you come in, everywhere you go out. Baruch is the fruit, your fruit. Says HaWah, I will break his yoke, man, you free. I will burst your bands, man. No more are you the slave. I'll make you the head, not the tail, right? We got multiple witnesses of the same thing. They shall serve HaWah and David, their king. Something about David, something about Prester has the is the keeper of memories, has the drop on the mem. The mem is the water. Your memories are kept with Dawid. Dawid got the keys, man. Whom I will raise up unto them. Is David returning? Is Elijah returning? When? The fierce anger of HaWah shall not return until he have executed, until he have performed, man, the purposes of his heart in the end of days. Ah, man. I mean, one witness after the other. Hosea 3, verse 3. And I said unto her, thou shalt sit solitary for me many days. Back to Deuteronomy. You ain't listening. You ain't observing. You an adulteress. You turn unto other gods. You're not listening. Well, I had to buy you back. You ain't gonna be no hoe no more. I gotta buy you back. For the children of Israel shall sit solitary many days without a Khan. You don't got David. You don't got your royalty. You don't have no nobility. Without a prince. Your sacrifices don't mean nothing. Forget your pillars, your ephods, and your teraphim. But after all that solitary, all that many days, one day afterward, after the time is appointed, shall the children of Israel return. This is what we talking about. This is where we're at, my nigga. Because once you start keeping the code, you KTC, MHOE, you have returned. You got that mem sauce. Now you seeking HaWah directly with no hijack in between. And when you do that, you keep the code. Exodus 20 got its end code. Our 9 code is spiraled up. You must seek, you must desire HaWah, and you must seek David in the appointed time, who is the everlasting shepherd appointed. Ezekiel 37, Ezekiel 34, one shepherd, Khan forever. And they shall come trembling unto HaWah and his goodness, because you got that Baruch on Baruch. The Baruch is overtaking you, chasing you in, chasing you out. You got the goodness. And when? Again, the end of days. Book of Daniel, knowledge is abounding, right? It's all happening. But now we can collapse the wave pattern knowing it's all happening by observation. Observation. What are you observing? Second Baruch chapter 50, what are we collectively observing? And he answered and said to me, listen, Baruch, to this word and write down in the memory of your heart. Who got the keeper of the memories? All that you shall learn, for the earth will surely give back the dead at that time. It receives them now in order to keep them, not changing anything in their form. Not changing anything in their form. Moses died, but his eye was not dim. His natural force was not abated, lessened, reduced, decreased, destroyed. Mama preserved his natural force. Huh? Okay. It receives them now. Mama receives them now in order to keep them, not changing anything in their form. Witnesses, my naga. But as it has received them, so will it give them back. Israel returns, seeks the Creator, and David, yo king. But they shall serve HaWah their power, and David their king, whom I will raise unto them. Come. Remember the law, keep the code, observe, which I commanded unto him in Horeb. Malachi 4, even statutes and ordinances. Behold, I will send you Elijah, the prophet, before the coming of the great and terrible day. End of days, Jacob's trouble. Elijah is being sent. I will send you. Okay. Don't act like it's weird and crazy for your prophets to return, for you to have one clear shepherd, not JC. Just don't say Yahweh Shai. You can't use supposition and conjecture to weasel out of the script. The scripture. It's right there in our face, bone. Let's get this Ezekiel flow. 37. Yeah. 2 cross sticks, which means what? You're going to observe in a particular place. Your observation is leading to the result of these 2 tribes coming back together, northern and southern tribes. Israel has returned, just like Hosea 3. That's the Tau. You collapse the wave pattern for the tribe. So Israel can return. That's your X, and that's your cross. You got the breath in you. Prophesy, son of man, saying to this breath, come from the four winds, oh, breathe, breath, and breathe unto these slain. Restore their natural force, like Moshe, that they may live. And my servant David shall be king over them, shall be. This is Ezekiel the prophet saying it. Jeremiah telling you this. Hosea telling you this. Even Elijah the prophet, the Tishbite, who left in a whirlwind of fire, who was also coming in the same Melchizedek priest king Prester flow, is coming back. You don't need to replace him with Jesus. David is returning. And they shall have one shepherd, and that's not Yahushua, that's David, not son of David, not from the loins of David. Jesus is an immaculate conception. How many times we got to tell y'all this? He has no father, only God, right? How could he be from the line of David? How can he be from the line of Judah? He has no father, but the creator. Ain't that good enough? Oh no, he is the creator, boss. He is the creator. Damn, damn, damn. And my servant David shall be king over them, and they shall have one shepherd. They shall walk in my ordinances and observe. It's all about observation. What are you going to choose? You're going to choose the preacher way, the mosque way, the Buddhist way, the not giving a damn way, oh, the Black Power way, the Africa, uh, black, red, and green. You know, come on, man. Ain't nothing made more sense than what these Nagas are, becoming aware of and observing directly HaWah. That's when you got the Dawi flow popping off. But not until you observe HaWah's code, ordinances. Can you have a shepherd? And what's a shepherd without a flock, which is the natural, the shoot, the growth, the stock. You need to be the flock for the shepherd. And the shepherd needs to be the shepherd for the flock. HaWah always has order, my naga. You got a tribe within HaWah, you got a chief of your tribe, then you have a leader. That don't have to be your supreme creator, but one who's walking in the ways of HaWah's ordinances and observing. And our shepherd, as an entire flock, our shepherd can only be and is only our one shepherd, David. Dawi, to get that mem sauce. And they shall dwell in the land that I have given unto Jacob, my servant. Who? Jacob. You can't genealogy your way into Jacob's land, period. Where your fathers dwell, and they shall dwell therein, they and their children and their children's children forever. And David shall be their Khan, their prince, their king, their Khan forever. I will make a covenant of peace with them. Back to Psalms 89. The covenant is with David, with David's seed. Covenant of Shalom. Because that's all we ask for is Shalom for our children and their children forever. David is your prince, your king, your Khan. One shepherd. I will make a covenant of peace with them, not the hijack, with Jacob. It shall be an everlasting covenant with them, and I will establish them and multiply them and set my sanctuary in the midst of them forever. You're the head and you're not the tail. My dwelling place also shall be over them, and I will be their power, and they will be my people. This is a love story between a father and his sons, a mother and her daughters, and the nation shall know that I am HaWah. I, HaWah, sanctifies Hasharah. Everyone's going to know. You ain't going to have to prove that you super duper popping off. It's going to be obvious you popping off. They all going to have to get real low to the flow when you walking by because they know who's rocking with you. They know who's sanctifying you. All the nations shall know when my sanctuary shall be in the midst of them forever. That's the power. Naga, that's the power. So yeah, surely the earth is giving back the so-called dead. And Moses so-called died, but his eyes was not dim, nor his natural force reduced in any way possible. It receives them now in order to keep them, not changing anything in their form, but as it has received them, so it will give them back. And as I have delivered them to it, so it will raise them. I said, raise them, boss. Yeah. Raise up that Dawi flow, raise up that one shepherd flow, right? Ezekiel 34. Yeah, there was no shepherd, neither did my shepherd search for my sheep. It's been all bad, but you know what, man? My flock, as for you, my flock, that says a while, behold, I judge between cattle and cattle, even ram between ram. I'm going to know who's hijacked free. Verse 23, and I will set up one shepherd over them. This ain't Jesus, man. This ain't the son of David. You ain't got to clout chase off the name of David if you're an immaculate conception. This is Dawid. He shall feed them, even my servant David. He shall feed them, Anaga. That's your Zan. Seventh letter of the Hebrew is the food, the nourishment. And he shall be their shepherd, and I, HaWah, will be their power, and my servant David, prince among them. How many times are these witnesses speaking of David returning, David being prince, David being Khan, forever covenant, Psalm 89, Hosea 3, search for HaWah and King Dawid. Why? Because he shall feed them. HaWah needs his shepherd to feed you, Khan. You need to be the flock, which means you need to observe, or else you're going to be the flock for the hijack. I will raise them, Khan. And David their king, whom I will raise up unto them. Jeremiah 30, let's go. I will raise them, whom I will raise up unto them. One shepherd. So everybody is popping off. A lot of Nagas are coming back, not changed in their form, giving back the dead at that time, whose eyes were never dim, life force never reduced, destroyed, still popping off. Yeah, they were received for a minute, but Ahmad's not going to keep them forever. They will be given back. It will give them back. And as I have delivered them, so it is I will raise them, whom I will raise up unto them, David their king. For then it will be necessary to show those who live that the dead are living again. Whoa. Then it will be necessary to show those who live that the dead are living again, and that those who went away have come back. Second Baruch, chapter 50. And it will be that when they have recognized each other, right? You're going to see the big homies. Ancestors, those who know each other at this moment, then my judgment will be strong, and those things which I have spoken of before will come. And it will happen after this day, chapter 51, which I appointed, is over. That, right, end of day, let's go. That both the shape of those who are found to be guilty out of code, and also the splendor of those who have proved to be righteous, the splendor will be changed. Now we're talking about transformation. For the shape of those who now act wickedly out of code will be made more evil than it is now. You're gonna see them dog heads again. You're gonna see them dog heads popping off. Them jackal headed hijacks. Their literal shape will be changed. You're gonna know who's evil, so that they shall suffer torment. Yeah, you talking about reptilians now. Just wait. Also, as for the honor and the splendor of those who prove to be righteous, they code keepers on account of my Torah. Exodus 20 got us in code. Those who possessed intelligence, man, not the lacking of it. They chose up in their life. And those who planted the root of wisdom in their heart, that's mama. Their honor and splendor will then be magnified by transformations. We talking quantum manipulation, transformations, mighty morphin Power Rangers, regenerate, healing after damage, vibratory patterns, transformations, and the shape of their face will be changed into the light of their beauty so that they may acquire and receive the undying world which is promised to them because they don't die. How could you die when his eye was not dim nor his life force destroyed? It's an undying world. It's suspended animation, which is promised to them. Therefore, especially they who will then come will be sad because they despise my Torah. These people go against the code keepers. They despise HaWah's code. They want to do everything else, right? They want to do these thousands of laws of hijack city, but not HaWah's law. Stop their ears lest they hear wisdom and receive intelligence. Mama can't even mess with them. Verse 5, when they therefore will see that those over whom they are exalted now, oh yeah, they up right now, but will then be more exalted and magnified than them. Then both these and those will be changed, these into the honor and splendor of Malakim, Drakan, and those into startling visions and horrible shapes, and they will waste away even more, and they will first see, and then they will go away to be tormented. They gonna see you popping off, and then it's a wrap for them. Miracles, however, will appear at their own time to those who are saved because of their works. They code keepers, and for whom the Torah is now a hope and intelligence, expectation. You expect this Baruch, man. You expect this blessing on blessing. And wisdom or trust, you trust mama. You know you're going to have the ingredients to put that fine meal together, as it says in the Popova. For they shall see that world which is now invisible to them. They will see a time which is now hidden to them. These hijacks went to Cibola. They didn't find nothing. It was invisible, boss. But you're going to see the world which is now invisible. And you will see a time which is now hidden to them. Quantum manipulation of the flow of time. And time will no longer make them older and they will live in the heights of the world, and they will be like the Malachim and be equal to the stars, and they will be changed into any shape which they wish. Mighty Morphic Power Ranger. Changed into any shape you wish. Yeah, that dragon can, that fire, water, ether, earth flow, you can come in any form you want. What shape would you like right now? You can do that, Mighty Morphin Power Rangers. For they will live in the heights, right? They are high. Utah, right? Man, the heights of the world, and they will live like the Malachim and be equal to the stars, and they will be changed into any shape which they wished, from beauty to loveliness, and from light to the splendor of honor, for the extents of kingdom paradise will be spread out for them. This is what you collapse the wave pattern to experience your kingdom, your paradise. This is why you collapse the wave pattern. This is quantum. This is quantum talk. You got to observe to collapse the wave pattern on your paradise, your kingdom. Do you see clearly? This is your weapon. This is the one with the deadly glance. You seeing clearly is an evil eye for them. For the extents of kingdom paradise will be spread out for them, and to them will be shown the beauty of the majesty of the living beings under the throne, as well as all the hosts of the Malachim, those who are held by my word. Now lest they show themselves, and those who are withheld by my commandment, so that they may stand at their places until their coming has arrived, and the excellence of the righteous will then be greater than that of the Malachim. For the first will receive the last, those who they expected. You expecting your ancestors, you expecting Moshe, you expecting Prester John, you expecting Dawid, those whom they expected, and the last, those whom they had heard that they had gone away. For they have been saved from this world of affliction, and have put down the burden of anguishes, because of which men lost their lives, and for what have those who were on the earth exchanged their soul? For once they chose up, I observe, right? Once they chose for themselves, you got to choose for yourselves, my nigga. Can't nobody choose for you. Can't nobody choose up for you, or else you causing interference patterns. Don't get mad at the reaction of the wave. I hope you rocking with the wave. Because if you are constantly going against a wise wave, then that's a choice you're making, right? For once they chose for themselves that time which cannot pass away without affliction. Once they chose for themselves the time which cannot pass away without afflictions. There's no afflictions, and there's no time and getting older. And those, they choose for themselves that time of which the end is full of lamentations. Now you on the other side of Deuteronomy 28. You on the blessing or the curse side. You observing or you ain't observing. You listening or you ain't, son. You listening or you ain't. For once they chose for themselves that time which cannot pass. I never dim. Natural force never lessen, never destroy. You chose that once. We just read about it. Exodus 20, you had lightning and thunder popping off. You chose up once. And they chose for themselves that time, which is now the end, which of time of which the end is full of lamentations and evil. We choosing this. And they have denied the world that does not make those who come to it older. You denied the everlasting, my naga. Slavery is a choice. I'm on my easy flow. And they have rejected the time which causes splendor, so that they are not coming to the splendor of which I spoke to you before. That's Deuteronomy 28, 1 through 15. That's the splendor. Baruch chasing you everywhere you go, you got Baruch. That's the splendor. Let's go, man. You have splendor popping off, right? Zechariah 12, you got splendor popping off, Khan. Yeah, man. Yeah. And that day says, what? I will smite every horse with bewilderment, his rider with madness, and I will open my eyes, one with a deadly glance, upon the house of Judah. I will smite every horse of the people with blindness, the peoples, the hijack. And the chiefs of Judah will say in their heart, the inhabitants of Jerusalem are my strength. Man, when the priest Khan is able to say, my flock is my strength, that means you have returned, Hosea 3. Israel has returned. They're keeping the code. We got code keepers. You have returned to HaWah directly. You got the mem sauce flowing. Now, let's get in order. ThaWaDa, let's go. When the chiefs of Judah shall say in their heart, man, the inhabitants of Jerusalem are my strength. We got numbers. We got code keepers. Through HaWah, their power. In that day will I make the chiefs of Judah, we talking high, right? Yeah. We talking Udall, right? We talking high. Head not the tail. In that day will I make the chiefs of Judah like a pan of fire among the wood. We talking Drakan, like a torch of fire among the sheaves. We're talking dragon fire. And they shall devour all the people around them on the right and the left. And Jerusalem shall be inhabited again in her own place, even in Jerusalem. HaWah also shall save the tents of Judah first. Is that racist? No, it's tribal. It's tribal order. Why? That the glory of the house of David, here we go again, Zechariah 12, back to ThaWaDa, one shepherd, Ezekiel 37, and the glory of the inhabitants of Jerusalem be not magnified above Judah. No one, no tribe can magnify above Judah. If you can't get the covetous out your heart bone, you ain't ready for a kingdom. You ain't ready for this flow. You'd rather be a slave in captivity in Babylon than to stop trying to magnify yourself above Judah. You just can't do it. So you gotta be a slave. You gotta be in captivity. But when you return and the covetous is out of you and you want your kingdom, you want Judah to be magnified because HaWah has already set it in motion. The glory of the house of ThaWaDa, because the covenant is with David, the Prester. And in that day shall HaWah defend the inhabitants of Jerusalem, and he that stumbles among them at that day shall be as David. I think you do get superpower. I think these Nagas do get superpower. And the house of David shall be as a God-like being. I think we do get superpowers. That's why you search for HaWah and David, your king. Because the house of David, your Khan, shall be as a God-like being. We talking dragons as the angel. Yeah, we talking dragons. Of HaWah before him. Because you are the marvel. You are the seraph. You are the angel of the highest order. You are the dragon of the highest order. All this is there to serve you. It's a part of you. This angel of the highest order is not separate from you. You are the seraph. You are the burning ones. You are the seraph. You are The burning one. You are the dragon, Ka, because the dragon is a fierce or violent Naga. This man or woman is a dragon. The burning ones, the one with the daily glance, the one that sees clearly. Seraphs were traditionally regarded as burning or flaming angels. Really, I think that's a dragon. Flying, lofty, fiery flying serpents. Wait, when has this class of angels ever been called serpents? I never heard an angel called a serpent, but I always hear a dragon called a serpent. These Christians done turn your dragons into men with wings. You believe in a man with wings or a fiery flying dragon? Burning ones. In the book of Isaiah, singing holy, holy to HaWah. Seraphim, highest order of angel. This man or woman is a dragon, is a meteor. You seeing some meteors? Nice spiral, take the wheel. Come on. You're going to be like the Malachim, right? Miracles, transformations, magnified into the light, my naga, greater light, beauty. No more time will make you older, man. You're going to see the world, which is now invisible. Sound like some Marvel flow, huh? But you got to make a choice. Collapse the wave pattern on paradise, your kingdom paradise. And the excellence of the righteous will then be greater than that of the Malachim. Your excellence is what it's all about. Now we're hitting the mark. Now we're hitting the towel. Now we're hitting the towel. For once they chose for themselves that time which cannot pass away without afflictions. That's what we're getting back to. We're on the way up. No more choosing a time of lamentation and evil. We denied the world that does not make those who come to it older. Fountain of youth, who is Prester John? Mem sauce, man. And they have rejected the time which causes splendor, so that they are not coming to the splendor which I spoke to you before. And they that stumbles among them in that day shall be as David. And the house of David should be as godlike beings, as the angel burning ones, Saraf, the burning ones. Come on, for the dismount, as the dragons of HaWah before them. Because ain't no angel being related to a serpent. We just talking dragon, serpent, male or female, man or woman is a dragon. If you're fierce towards the hijack, and if you fight back, then you got the one with the deadly glance. And that day shall come to pass, I will seek to destroy all the nations that come against Jerusalem, and I will pour upon the house of David and upon the inhabitants of Jerusalem the ruach of grace and supplication, and they shall look unto me, not JC, me, because they have thrust him through, and they shall mourn for him as one mourn for his only son, and shall be in bitterness for him as one is in bitterness for his firstborn. Because we're going to see this transformation, like we just read. We're going to see ones we love, unfortunately, you know what I'm saying, that are within this destruction. And we will mourn, my naga, like our firstborn, we will mourn the great mourning in Jerusalem. And everyone will witness it and take part of it. Because we caused it by not observing. You ready for your transformation? Is it getting marvelous yet, man? You ready for the Prester to pop up out as a spinning animation, man? We blew marveling, man. You know, we just had to get this education and understanding, man, and reflection, clarity. We had to see clearly. But the quantum is involved with the marvel, and the marvel is the wave, is you. The blue marvel was a bioduplicate of Thelius on the Marvel.fandom, a Uranian eternal, right? The world that is undying, who came to Earth in the guise of Bob Grayson or Marvel Boy. He was created by Thanos using the Infinity Gauntlet alongside three other wielders of the quantum bands. They're using quantum manipulation of the flow of time from eons vestigial memory back to that and the remnants of the eon verse. All right, man. It gets deep when you get into the quantum of the Marvel. Go dig on it, man. Quantum bands, man. This whole group is called the Quantum Banders. All related with the Blue Marvel, this Naga who was ostracized because he was a Naga. We got the drop. Bio-duplicated human inmate, former agent of Thanos, and would-be protector of the universe. So who's Thanos, man? Huh? Who's Thanos really, man? You got to dig on who this Thanos really is. If they're trying to say that Blue Marvel is working for him or created by him and all this stuff, who's Thanos, man? Y'all drop that drop, man. All I know is that it's still around these quantum banders, and we just still talking about quantum and collapsing the wave pattern. We done took you to the genetic fields of mind and body, man. Quantum University, we done been here. We done went into the measurement problem, man, digging on quantum string manipulation, man. Quantum manipulation of the flow of time. We're talking atoms. We done dug on Dr. Quantum and these atoms that are forming a wave. Is a particle a wave? Is a particle a wave? Is all matter a wave of possibilities? And does it have anything to do with transformation? And why is his name Adam, man? Adam. Yeah, he was really covered up, man. And a lot of my real comic heads already know, man. This story's taking place in 1962. Civil War, Civil War is popping off. Martin Luther King's popping. Everything's popping off. He's getting medals of freedom from John F. Kennedy. So they got him close. They're keeping him real close, right? Until his identity is revealed. And now they can't keep him close no more. Yeah, he got his medals. He was a PhD, First they used him for his brain, then they wanted him to save them. And the Nagas wanted him to save them. And then Tony Stark went looking for him. Iron Man went looking for him. And then he went head up with all the Avengers and he had all this power. Then he fought Anti-Man. And then it revealed that he's a Naga. What does this got to do with melanin? And real experiments that was happening around this time, like the Philadelphia experiment. A lot happening in the 60s with quantum, man. Like I said, Prester seemed to have to go up against this Kang, and that sent him to the past. And it got me thinking, who's Kang? So I'm gonna go for the double dismount. Maybe a triple dismount. We're gonna watch just a couple flows. Not all of it, but I'm a belly flop. Who's this Kang, man? You know what I'm saying? Love the comments explain. Fair use in your caboose. Let's do some criticism comments for the dismount. Who is Kang?
Back with Kang. Only myself left to conquer. Right, we are at the conclusion here. And I'm sorry it took so long. Just been doing a lot of traveling.
Let's go, man.
It was hard to kind of make this bigger.
Man, let's go.
Say removes him from being just kind of like this ambiguous conqueror that exists out there in the multiverse somewhere that like does things from time to time and actually brings them more down to earth. Because in reality, that's kind of what Kang needed. That over the years in Marvel Comics, Kang has just kind of been this guy who exists in the future. Sometimes he shows up, he fights the Avengers every once in a while. You get like, what is it, the original Avengers Forever and the Timekeepers and Immortus and all that kind of stuff in the Destiny Force. But you never really got to see a story that focused so heavily on why Kang is the way he is. And what this one does is it really changes that. So the idea here is that following what was basically the death of Ravonna Renslayer, right, the one woman he's ever loved more than any other, that Kang's desire to conquer was less about just like creating some massive empire for himself, right? In the last video, we talked about how he did that, but it left him feeling empty. It didn't fill that hole that he thought it would fill, because the reality is that hole was reserved for Ravonna Renslayer. But without her in the picture, he just wasn't really able to do the kind of things he wanted to do. And that's what was so cool, is because he didn't feel complete. When it comes to this idea of love, and this is one of the things that I want to specify here, right? When it comes to the idea of love, I think it's very easy to take a cynical approach, right? Love is the only socially acceptable version of masochism, right? Like we go out into the world and we intentionally harm ourselves over and over and over again in the hopes that it won't actually hurt this time and we'll find the person we love more than any other. It's very easy to become cynical in that way when it comes to the notion of love. And for fair reason, right? I mean, there are people who have been hurt so consistently that they just by default associate love with pain because that's the only thing love has ever caused them is pain. But the reality here is that depending on who you talk to, some people will say it's worth it. And what Kang is doing here, this is one of the things to know. The establishment of Chronopolis was not built as some place for Kang to basically rule his empire from some distant point in the future or across the entirety of the multiverse. Instead, it was to basically find his love. And so when he establishes Chronopolis, one of the things to know and the easiest way to understand this is that it's like this empire, right? This citadel that he has that has strings across the multiverse. It's almost like Thor in the Bifrost, right? That like you have Asgard and you have the Bifrost Bridge that allows Thor to access any of the dimensions that are tied to the Bifrost. Chronopolis allows Kang to access any of the universes that he's conquered and even some of the ones that he hasn't, right? It allows him to basically travel back and forth throughout the entirety of the time stream and the multiverse. It's just kind of his base of operations. It was also the base of operations for Immortus as well. But the thing about
Immortus. What does Kang got to do with Khan, man? You know, was Khan able to tap into Prester's realm this way, the same type of way with technology?
is why it was built was because of the fact that what he wanted to do was create a place whereby he could essentially scatter the entirety of Ravonna Renslayer's atoms across the time stream. Now, I know it sounds kind of crazy in doing that, but he literally says, I call this place Chronopolis. He says, this is where we will live, Ravonna. And he says, where you'll live. I swear it, even if it takes 1,000 attempts. She was not you, but she had wisdom. Go, my Ravonna, and be infinitely reborn in the space between the stars. So the idea behind Kang here is to basically scatter her entire existence across the multiverse, and she'll be reborn in every single universe that exists across the multiverse. At that point, it's him just trying to find things. Now, what he says here is so intriguing. He says, in those moments of mastery, for I had become the master of time, I often thought that epochs and eras were measurements for lesser men that had not invented the chronology that could contain Kang.
They don't have a chronology to contain this Kang. He has quantum manipulation of the flow of time.
Brought the Chronopolis, the greatest monks of the Buddha, and the most enlightened Shi'ar warrior priests. And through their teachings, and on rare occasions, over their corpses, I came to an understanding.
And this is all about their false god Chronos, right? Back to the Zeus flow.
Master does not allow his love to die. Those are the actions of a boy. A master compels that which he controls to become that which he loves. Using every bit of Chronopolis's power, I unraveled the very fabric of time. I found the threads of fate and made the city its loom. And from it, I wove a machine of constant replication. I injected Ravonna Renslayer's very soul into time, like a dye into the threads of an entire tapestry. Where time had taken her from me, I forced time to do the opposite. The birth of an infinite number of Ravonnas in infinite timelines, giving myself infinite chances to save her.
He's hitting every possibility on the wave pattern. Let's skip ahead a little bit, man. We just belly flopping. I'll leave a link. Oh man. Come on, man. That's the hijack, man.
All right, first.
Come on, man. Dope faith versus everything, man. They always try to cop our style, man. It's most high over everything, man. Let's go.
Satisfy the desire of Kang to have someone in his life. Imagine if that were the case. What? Imagine if tomorrow somebody showed up to you to visit you and said, "Hey, the whole reason you exist is because I created you, and I created you for the express purpose of being my lover." Suddenly, your life has no meaning. Your life has no value because the life you lived was never truly your own, and that's what she experiences here. That's what really torments her here. And so where Kang realizes she's kind of a failure, that ultimately Kang says, okay, fine, another failure, there's nothing I can do here. He goes to attack her and basically destroy her. And in the process of this, she destroys Chronopolis, right? She says, you're the wound in the time stream, Kang. Like, you fail to realize, even after all of this, you're the problem. And that's one of the things that Kang says here, right? He says that all that's left to do here is to cauterize the wound. And he says,
Damn. I mean, you talk about a toxic relationship. Skip ahead.
never love. And he says, how could I when there is no one left to love? Across all of time, my Ravanas are gone, my past affixed, its loop completed. Her grip upon my heart releases, and so the husk stops.
It's crazy because they say Alexander, right? Back to this conquering Alexander. He's weeping because he could not conquer his world. So is in the heart of this Genghis Khan flow, is it about love? They say he went to war with Prester John because Prester did not want to give him his daughter to marry. And did he just go absolutely berserk? Did he go Kang on the Khan? In real time, I mean, maybe this is giving us some insight into the heartbone of Genghis Khan. Hey, let's get back in this dope spiel for the double dismount. Blue Marvel saving the mighty Avengers. Man, what's this about? What's this about? He's saving them. First he whooped up on them. Now he's saving them. Dope
Hey
spill.
guys, welcome back to another video. If you're new to the channel, be sure to subscribe so you can catch the new spills every week. And don't forget to hit that notification bell on the side so you're the first one to know when I got a new video up. Alright, so we're back again with more Blue Marvel. And I really like this event in particular because it's like a story within a story. And like in most cases, those are the type of spills that I like to do the most. Because recently when D23 revealed how the children of Thanos will look on the big screen in Infinity War, we talked about them some here on my page, pictures of them were all over the internet, but most of that heavily focused on how they just rip right through the Avengers. But what I like to do here is something similar to what we did with James Hudson, son of Wolverine, in his videos. And that's take one of these main events and focus on what some of the hidden characters were doing during this exact time. And I love that we're able to do this with Blue Marvel specifically. Because while the Avengers were getting mowed through, Thanos was making his plans for an invasion. And Adam Brashear at this time was in what he would call his little undersea science fortress. A lot like a Fortress of Solitude, but underwater. And this is one of the reasons I really like his character too. Because prior to joining the Ultimates and since his return from his sports retirement, Adam Brashear is one of those characters that wouldn't show up unless it's like a high level risk situation or a personal matter. And that's the thing I liked about his character was his humility. Because really, like, we talked about in the last video, if he wanted to come to the surface and just started slapping people off the planet, he could do that. But it's the fact that he chooses not to and he doesn't show up unless it's a serious threat and he needs to intervene. And that's also one of the reasons why his appearance in comics are kind of scattered around too. And that makes him a rarer find for these kind of spills. Because with some stuff, you got to jump to the issues that he's in and then jump back to the main story. But it shows you that he was never that type of character who was like, okay, I need to jump out there and I need to save the day just so people can see what I can do. And I believe it's things like that that really showed us his true character and let us know who Adam Brashear is now as part of the Ultimates. But as the children of Thanos continue their invasion, you have Ebony Maw who's going for Doctor Strange. And spoiler alert for the Infinity War film, because a lot of this is likely to happen in the film. There's probably a few things that we'll touch on here that happen in the film, but it's highly likely that we'll see a scene similar to this with Doctor Strange and Ebony Maw. And Ebony Maw really just has one power, but that power is huge because he can whisper his influence into somebody's ear and make them do virtually anything. Like here with Doctor Strange, like once he gets a hold of him, he gets him to summon Shumagora and release him on New York. Then after that, he uses Doctor Strange to work as a double agent within the Illuminati. But we head back over here to Adam Brashear, who's talking with Uatu the Watcher, and they've actually been friends for quite some time. Because in the past, Adam has used the blue area of the moon as a little getaway spot. And I don't mean like vacation getaway, but it's an area that was built by the Skrulls like a million years ago. It has an artificial environment to where regular people went up there, they can breathe. Skrulls originally made it as a testing ground. The Kree, they built the Blue City there, but Uatu also has his base there. And I want to say it was at the time that Adam Bashir's wife, who later on passed away, but at the time he found out she was a spy. And so when Adam flew up there to kind of clear his mind, that's what he met Uatu, and Uatu was kind of talking to him, telling him, hey, go back down there and work it out. And from there forward, it opened the door of communication between the two, and they ended up being really close friends. So mainly when Uatu visits Adam here, he's telling her to tell him, step away from your research for a second and look back at the monitors. And with Adam, it's like most of the time nothing's happening, but the one time he turns his back, it's looking like the end of the world out there. Shumagorath is tearing up New York, and even though he's nearly invincible in his own dimension because his powers are amplified there, here on Earth his power levels and abilities drop down to a magnitude that is still on top of the charts, which makes him being here on top of the Black Order invading a level 8 threat. Because if it was only the invasion, that would still be a level 7. And I know you guys are probably looking in the background like, who's that second Spider-Man with the nunchucks? So I'm going to go ahead and address the elephant in the room. So that second Spider-Man is actually Blade. And he kind of got caught in this predicament of sneaking through, trying to get to the Avengers, and asked for one of the Avengers' help. But when he got there, this invasion started happening, so it's kind of like, man, I gotta get to that. But at the same time, he didn't want to blow his cover, so he just grabbed the first thing he saw in a costume shop. But the crazy thing is, Adam Bashir's response once he gets there. And when he gets there, of course, he just flies through Shumagora, and he checks in with Luke Cage, who's leader of this group of Avengers. But after that, when he goes over to Spider Hero, he's like, man, your voice sound mad familiar. So then Blade is like, man, I ain't seen you since the 70s, man. You look good, man. Black don't crack. No, I'm just playing. But they did team up a while back. And I can do another video on that if you guys want. Just let me know in the comments. But before Adam and Blade really get to catch up and all that, Superior Spider-Man pulls Adam to the side and is like, hey, I'm a fan of your work, and I understand that you can look into this. And by saying that, he means that he's heard at some point before that Adam can look at objects at a subatomic level. And the reason that he needs to do this is because Spectrum was stabbed by Proxima Midnight's stab, which is nearly impossible to dodge. When she throws it, it follows you around a lot like Yondu in Guardians of the Galaxy, and when Spectrum's hit by it, she starts to decompose. And so now Spectra is made of pure energy. So when Adam looks into her and sees this infection that's starting to break her down, it's like made of an anti-energy. And that's just a simple way of putting it instead of getting into all the photons and electromagnetic radiation and whatnot. But the idea is brilliant. Since he can control antimatter, he's able to expel that infection from her body.
And remember observation with quantum. These particles know they're being observed.
And all while managing to flirt with her at the same time. And this moment's pretty significant because they build a rather fond relationship with one another and went on to join the Ultimates together as well too. And these two specifically make a great combination because with Adam Bashir's ability to produce and manipulate antimatter, he can also manipulate other forms of energy as well. And like we mentioned just a minute
quantum manipulation of the flow of time, Anaga. Let's go.
With him moving around the photons and extracting the antimatter, he was also able to adjust her frequency and make her insanely more powerful as well. Now, if that right there ain't relationship goals, I don't know what is.
Let's go.
But that'll do it for this one, guys, mainly because this is where Adam Bashir's involvement in this incident ends. And we do continue to see him with the Mighty Avengers, and we'll definitely explore more of that in future videos. But there was a point where this team needed an ancient god to intervene before Spectrum could dish that final blow to Shumagora. But yeah, let me know if you guys want to talk about some...
I mean, it always seems to be an aqua in the flow, man. Always seems to be an aqua in the flow. For the triple dismount, dope spill, keep whipping the wheel.
To a new video. If you're new to the channel, be sure to subscribe so you can catch a new spill every week. And don't forget to hit that bell up top so you can be part of the notification squad and get all these spills first. Alright, so last week sometime I did a video about Captain Marvel and Adam Warlock showing up in the MCU film together after Infinity War, since they're not going to be in Infinity War. And one of the quotes from the Captain Marvel panel had people blowing up left and right because it said she's one of the world's most powerful super beings, and it said, quote, she is Earth's mightiest hero. And man, people lost it. I had people like, what about Hulk? What about Sentry, Hyperion, Blue Marvel? And quite a few people from there asked me to do a Blue Marvel video, so that's why I'm doing this one here. But the thing is, that statement was more so true at a time when Blue Marvel had disappeared from the scene. Captain Marvel was then with the Guardians of the Galaxy, and it wouldn't be till later till they joined up together as members of the Ultimates in the 616 universe. But also, after talking to you guys in the comments, I come to realize that some people have been kind of misled or misinformed about some of his abilities and his power. So I also want to clear up as much of that as I can in this video as well too. And so I figured the best way to give you guys a better understanding of the power of Adam Bashir or Blue Marvel would be to talk about the source of his power, which is antimatter. Because to simplify it, for the most part, he is an antimatter generator and reactor. But
he's a generator and reactor. He's a walking CERN machine, opening portals, popping off, quantum flow.
But the power of that generator is only as strong as what it generates. All right, so antimatter is very similar to regular matter. It is 100% stable in the right conditions. The only difference between antimatter and regular matter is that at cellular level, they carry opposite charge. And that's why anytime antimatter is exposed to regular matter, it's highly explosive. And the only way to keep it stable is to keep it within a magnetically charged vacuum, which theoretically is the concept that keeps his body from exploding
CERN.
whenever he grabs like a cup of coffee or something. And that aspect is also relative to his ability to fly like other characters who can manipulate magnetism. Because with just the ability to manipulate antimatter alone, he would only be able to control it in his body and it will go wildly out of control outside of his body. And the best example of that is when he faced and defeated Anti-Man, who Adam thought was dead, but later on found out that he was still alive. But Anti-Man, being pure energy, has a harder time remaining stable, and that's one of the things that Blue Marvel used against him in defeating him as well. And so now Blue Marvel would go somewhere like the negative zone where everything is made of antimatter. Not only would he have more control over the antimatter that he produces because it's not trying to blow up as soon as it leaves his body, but he'd also be able to manipulate all matter in the negative zone because everything there would be constructed of antimatter. All right, so with a better understanding of what fuels his power, and that being antimatter, now I want to move over to how that translates into his strength. And there's been times where he's lifted a warship that was like 93,000 tons, and he's moved meteors the size of Arkansas, but it's kind of hard to scale that against other heroes who haven't done the exact same thing. So what I'm going to do to kind of scale his strength better is compare him to another character that we've seen more of. And the character that we're going to use for this comparison is going to be the Hulk. And this comparison is going to be an efficiency rating derived from the substance that each one of them draw their power from. With the Hulk, it being gamma radiation, and with Blue Marvel, it being antimatter. So if the exact same instance were to draw energy from either of these sources, and we use fusion for an example, uranium is measured to be at 1.5, while gamma radiation shows in different sources to range anywhere from 3.5 up to about 21%. And since this is the Hulk, let's say it's that 21%, which is the highest I could find. In the comics, antimatter is said to release energy with a 100% efficiency. So aside from whatever limitation these characters may have, and the source material makes it seem like neither one of them have a limitation, because with the Hulk, the madder he gets, the stronger he gets. But with Adam Bashir, he's constantly generating antimatter with an endless supply. So because of that, when Hulk says he's the strongest there is, Blue Marvel is going to strongly dispute that. Because when it comes to gamma radiation strength versus the rate of antimatter, at best efficiency, Blue Marvel
uppercuts and body blows. This is you, my nigga. Undefeatable.
is generating about 5 times the power than the Hulk is. So when it came to the point of when they faced each other, there was no blow for blow. It was just a one
Even the one stumbling will be as David. Pure light.
hit, we're done. And another thing I wanted to do was compare him to like cosmic energy, like that of Galactus and Captain Marvel, and even which we've seen with the Human Torch. But the power of cosmic has varied over the years so much, and there's not like a constant rate you can use and compare it to. And I already checked CERN's website; they only got antimatter, no power cosmic over there. But because he generates and operates off of antimatter, he's been able to easily go through a number of the strongest characters in Marvel Comics, including Hyperion, Thanos, the Sentry, who he literally punched off the planet, and that's him taking out a character who went toe-to-toe with World Breaker Hulk. Really, the only fight I've seen him have any kind of trouble in was his first fight with Anti-Man, but he later beat him because he grew unstable when Blue Marvel would continue to generate energy. But with Blue Marvel being able to generate and sustain this type of energy, it also makes him self-sufficient, meaning that he can go without oxygen for an indefinite amount of time. And this was proven a couple of times. One, when he faced up against Namor, he was able to stay underwater for a long time without any need of oxygen. Another time was when he was sent into space on a suicide mission, and it was really the government trying to get rid of him, hoping that he would die in battle, because his identity at the time had been revealed and the world found out he was African American. And this was like early 60s, so the world really didn't accept an African American superhero at the time. But either way, he was sent out to the far reaches of space to investigate a signal and attempt to make communication or terminate if it was a threat. And when he got out there, he realized that the alien that was closing in was actually a scout who was investigating Earth with a hostile armada waiting behind, ready to invade the planet. But that'll do it for this one, guys. Leave a like if you want me to do.
Hey, ThaWaDa, dope spill. Much Ahab and comics explain. Much Ahab. We'll get back on that Kang. You know what I mean? Y'all been dropping that drop. Love to Kev's connections. Love your work. As always, but you're wrong. Spence is not the true Magi. And when Bud show the world levels between him, and we talking boxing talk. I just say, man, let the games begin. Let the knockers fight, man. Love to Spence and Bud Crawford. What we can say is that it's one highly charged event, man. So I look forward to it. Love to Melvin Harrison. Watch the reviving Nimrod's Empire. Okay. He always got the drop. Danny Lyon, the fact that his name is Adam. They love to Brian Henry, Shalom, man. Nagaville keeping it pushing. Praise HaWah, hey. Leona Abbott, wah. And in this woke culture, it is being made a trend to get no sleep and work out till burnout. But we really need to be building our inner chi, our inner key. But we have to observe our frequency. Hey, hi, Leona Abbott, man. Charles Israel. Yeah, basically they talk about frequency of the dimensions of the negative vibration, the negative zone, where the demons or destructive beings dwell, the prism of the fallen angels. I don't know if anybody else been feeling it, but I feel and I always have headaches within these 5G towers. Man, talk on it. And they're making the Wi-Fi net within geospatial field. What are they manipulating, man? Must be massive. What are they manipulating? Reading the prophetic words, according to Zechariah, it's 2/3 of Israel who choose not to heed, choose not to observe. Ahab, Charles, Israel, man, Israel. Ahoak, Indian nation, salute my king. Keep it going. The comic stuff is out there, man. Love to the bro. CJ, man, Charles Johnson. Proper education always corrects error. That's right. Peace, indigenous Americans of Turtle Island. And we Drakan popping off, man. And all my knowledge, man, this is why we are continuing. You know what I mean? And, we're going to put it together brick by brick. This would not be 100-part series, but we are Blue Marvel. And, man, we're realizing that these Seraph, these guardians, the highest order is your protection, and it is you. You are your guardian, but you must serve so that we could be popping off. Even when the Naga's staggering, you could have the torch of fire. What is that? The pan of fire. What is that? Well, you're going to need it to devour all hijacks around you, man. And Judah, get ready, because you popping off first. So that the glory of the house of David, the inhabitants of Jerusalem, be not magnified above you. Judah, stay high, stay the head and not the tail, because even the one that stumbles among them in that day shall be as David. And the house of David shall be as a godlike being. And that dragon, as that dragon of Hawaii before them. We have returned, and David the king will be raised up unto you again. Moses' natural force was never reduced, so all the prophets, all these Nagas is coming back, man, because we only talking about the quantum flow of the quantum manipulation of the flow of time. And you keeping the code you observe, you will be magnified by amazing transformations, changing into the greater light, the undying world, which is promised to you. All praise HaWah. Keep surfing away, my Naga. Male or female, you are a dragon. Hey, quantum manipulation. Quantum manipulation. I'm talked out, man. Quantum manipulation for the flow of time. I see you in the next one, my Nagas. Shalom.